Hello, welcome back guys. In this video we'll be learning about ComboBox and we'll be customizing the ComboBox element in QML. So sorry for the delay. I was busy with some work, but I'll continue from now on. Now before continuing with the dashboard, we need to understand the ComboBox. Let me show you what a ComboBox is. This is basically a ComboBox, a select drop down thing, right? So this is basically what a ComboBox is. It requires a model. It also has a delegate, but the delegate part is actually different. It also has a pop-up. Now basically this pane, this part is called a pop-up, right? So we'll look into all of that. For now, let's provide a basic model. So you can also give a model like this: A, comma B, comma C, or you can use a list model, right? So let's first see what's inside. So if you see, there are many things here: delegate, indicator, content, item, background, and pop-up. We'll learn all of these things individually, right? We'll learn all of these things. But for now, let's focus on one thing at a time. Now, let me show the. Let's first see the default combo box, how it looks. So first, let's use a list model. I'll give the ID of my combo box model. You can give it any ID you want. It should be logical, right? Now list element, we can uh, now the element, let's simply write a fruit name. So we'll be using a combo box of fruits. So first fruit name will be banana, and just copy paste this a few more times. Let's have 5 fruits here: apple, mango, and lemon, and strawberry. Now instead of this hard-coded model, we'll be providing the ID by ComboBox model. And let's run the application. It will be the center. So let's run the application once and see how it looks. So this is basically the basic theme, right? And this is how the ComboBox looks on hovering over it. If you have some more items, let's add 2 or 3 more fruits here. Let's copy fruit names from here. Grapes and pineapple, okay. Let's see now. Let's shrink this. As you can see, it expanded, right? So it will try to take the full height available, or it will expand. Not a very good feel, but for now let's work with what we have. For now, let's comment these two parts so that it says it is visible at least. Now let's say we close the application and run it again. So this is the default selected item, right? By default, the first item is selected. If you click again, it will be mango, right? I hope it's visible. So the selected item, the name of the item selected will be visible here, right? So this mango. Now if we want, let's say text like select a fruit, and if you select it, it will be blueberry, or you want like nothing to be selected, or something, right? So let me load this page again. So by default, there should be some text here like select a fruit and a drop down arrow. So how to do that? So to do that, we have to modify what's called the content item portion. This is delegate, we don't need this. This is indicator, we'll see this later. Background, we'll see later. Pop-up, we'll also see later. Now remaining part is content item, right? So let's modify this. So the actual content of the thing, so it will be content item will be label. Now this content item will give this label the full width. So if you want the items to be in the center aligned or vertically aligned, you have to use the vertical alignment things, right? Because content item will give this label the full width and the full height. So yeah, now for now, let's add a simple text. It will be qstring translate select a fruit. For now, let's hardcode this. So it will always tell us this like select a fruit. Now let's fix the alignment. So it will be vertical alignment text dot align v center. Now let's give some left padding of let's say 15 or 16. Let's give it a left padding of 16. I think 16 will be too much. So 12 I think is good enough. Now let's work around with font. So point size 12, weight, font dot demi bold, and color of let's say, let's put the color, let's put the color here. The color will be plain white. So FA, right? I think let's remove the grouping here. So gives us space. Now let's run the application and see if the label actually changed. Okay, so the issue is the background is also white, right? So let's modify that. You will see there is a property called background. Background will be a rectangle. Now you need to give some width and height. So I'll say implicit width or implicit height is let's say 40 and implicit width is let's say 200. Okay, I should have also changed the color, but for now it will be very large, right? Now let's see, color will be a grayish color like 3.6. Yeah, as you can see, it's a grayish color. It should be a little low, so 10.5, and it will be for not. Okay, demi board is good enough, right? Let's see. Actually, the height is a bit low. Let's change it to 50, and also add some radius of let's say 8. Let's see now. I think we should also add some border because this looks very bad now for now. So let's add a border. We'll say border dot width is 1 and border dot color is a grayish color. Let's say 777. Yeah, I think this is 7 is good, but let's try 9. Okay, so we should make it more darker. So 5. Yeah, I think this is a good enough border, right? Now we'll change the pop-up and all this stuff, but if you select anything, you'll see the text value does not change, right? So you'll see this value does not change. So what I want is like we want to change this value to the fruit after the user selects something, right? Uh, so for now, let's see on the properties of a combo box. So I'll say function f1. So there is a property called current text and current value. Forget that. Let's see signals which we can get. Uh, there should be on selected or on accepted something. Okay, so void accepted. So let's do one thing. Let's say initially we will not select anything. So current index, there's a property called current index. Let's set it to -1. Now what am I saying? Let's say this is the list model, right? Let me use my pen tab. Just a minute. Let me open the whiteboard. Open this board. Let it load for a bit. Okay, so close this. Okay, so what am I saying? this is the combo box and it has 5 elements because the model has currently 5 elements, right? So let's say we have 5 elements. Let's say one is change the pen. Let's say one is banana, apple, mango, grapes, strawberry, right? All this stuff. So this index is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4. Now this is our combo box. When we click on it, the pop-up appears and here there is banana, apple, mango, grape and strawberry. When you click on this, the pop-up closes and the value is changed to mango, right? Now when this happens, there is a property called current index, right? The property is called current index. This value will change to 0, 1, 2. So the value will change to 2. When you select grape, the value will change to 3. So with this property, we can easily identify which item is selected, right? Using this property. Now, if you set the current index to -1, you will see there is no -1. This is 0, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, but there is no -1. So nothing will be selected, right? So that's why by default, I set the current index to -1. So nothing is selected. Now here, in the content item label, we will add a check. We'll say if my combo box dot current index is equal to -1. That means nothing is selected. Show the default value. Otherwise, we will show this property. Property is called current value, right? Or current text. Let's show the current text. Dot current text. When we select something, the index will change and then this text value will hold lemon or mango or something. Let's see if this works properly. Otherwise, we can always use the get method of the list model. Okay, so number 49 undefined to Q string. It's a text, right? Let me see again. It's a string, so let's use current value. Okay. Okay. Let's for now, let's see, let's add a random string called selected and let's see. Why is that? Why is it selected? So the value is not -1, but I set it to -1 by default. Let's see. On current index changed. Let's see what the value changed to. Console log. The current index changed now. Let's see whether it changed. So it did not change, right? By default, it's that. Now let's see component dot on completed. This signal will be fired when this component is fully loaded. So I'll say console log. Whenever this combo box loads in the screen, this signal is fired. Component dot on completed. So here I'll say combo box is loaded on the screen, and then let's print the current value, the current index. Let's print this. Let's see. It's -1 and the current index did not change. So if it's -1, let's add 1 equal to, and let's see now. And what's happening? Let's, after selected, let's print the current index as well. Let's see. It's undefined. Okay, why is it undefined? Okay, why am I using ComboBox model? So sorry, so sorry. Should give it an ID of my ComboBox. So sorry guys. This is the list model. Why am I using list model? I should refer this one. So it will be my ComboBox.current index. Yeah. Now this will work. My ComboBox.current text. Yeah. Now this should work properly. Sorry, I now this changed. Let's select lemon. It became a lemon. So I hope you got the point. Yeah. Now now every time we have to, when we want to reset this, we have to click outside. So let's add a button below this, and the text will be reset. Use QT translate, better coding style. Reset. Let's place it uh, below anchors.top, my combo box, anchors.top margin of let's say 16. You can always group this together, right? And anchors dot horizontal center, parent dot horizontal center. You can always group this together, right? I'm too lazy for doing that, but that's a good practice. On clicked, what we will do is we'll say my combo box dot current index equal to -1. So we will reset this. When we click on the button, the index will reset. Let's see. Okay, so it will be my combo box dot bottom, because let's say this is the window, this is the combo box, this one's bottom will be the button stop. So this is the button stop, and this is the combo box bottom. I, my bad, making silly mistakes. Now this will work. Let's select a fruit, click on reset, so it will reset, right? Let's bring it more down. So I'll say 40 or something, right? And button will have a background of gray. Color will be gray 3636, and radius of let's say 4, just for styling purpose. Okay, so let's also give it some implicit width and height. 40 implicit width, 100. I think this will be good enough. So implicit width and implicit height basically means whenever you do not provide any custom width and height, like here the button does not have any width or height, right? So that's why this will be the default or preferred width and height. If you use layouts, we use preferred, right? This is basically the same thing, using preferred width and height. So color of the text will be white. Okay, so yeah, if I want the text color to be white, let's see how we can do that. Content item text. So let's change the button text. So it says the color is control.palette.button text. So let's change palette.button text color to white. I'll say palette.button text is nothing but white color. So now it will be white in color. Let's see. Yeah, as you can see, it became reset. It resetted, right? Yeah, no need to customize it any further, right? I think this is good enough because we are anyway working with this thing, with this selection, right? So now selector fruit is there, but if you see there is a down arrow sign. So I have already added an image here called down.svg file. This image, right? If it's visible to you guys, I hope it's visible. Now I did not add any image.qrc file I simply, in this Qt QML add model, I did resources and then down.svg. So if I select this, right click, you will not see any copy option here. So I just thought to tell you that there is another way. We can again do this Qt add new Qt resource and then do that, or we can do this simply in add this resources, and here if you have another image, let's say up.svg, if you do that, then up.svg will appear here, right? So this is another way of doing that. So now we know that. So the button is done. Let's close this thing. No need for component on completed. This current index, we need that to keep track. Content item is also done. Background is also done. Excuse me. Now let's see. There is a property called indicator, right? This is basically for the right side icon. If you can see this down arrow in the right side middle, that is the indicator. So we are done with background content item. Let's work with the indicator. So indicator will be image, and the image will have a width of, let's say, 20, height of, let's say, 20, and anti-aliasing true, smooth true, and fill mode will be image dot preserve aspect crop. Source will be simply down.svg. Now this is I actually learned that this is not a very, like, this is a good way, but you should have done this q.resolved URL. So you can enclose this in a method called q.resolved URL. Basically internally this source, the image thing inside does the same thing. It actually adds a q.resolved URL, but this is a good practice to do this thing, right? So yeah, now let's see if the image was added. Yeah, if you see, it's in the top left corner. We have to position it properly. But I hope you got my point. If you just remove this resolved URL and only use down.svg file, like source down.svg, only that, that's also good enough. But this is the clean way, or the most appropriate way of adding the source. Let's add. Is there a vertical alignment? Yeah, there is. So let's do image dot align v center, horizontal alignment, image dot align right. Is there a right padding? Okay, so there is not a right padding. Let's see if this works. I don't think it will work. Yeah, it did not work. So this will not work because indicator, I think, does not provide it the full width and height. Like content item. Okay, so what am I saying? Let's say this is the full combo box, right? Now when you say content item is label, so the label thing, right, this label thing gets the full width and height. That's why when you use anchors dot center in or something, the text is not actually the center, because it's getting the full width and height. So the text starts from here. Let's say this is the full box and the label only gets this much width. Now if you say anchors dot center in parent, it will work because this will be the center. But when the label is also full, the this content item is also full, label is also full, how can it be in the center, right? It will obviously take the full width and height, and the text will start from here. So then you use the vertical alignment property. I hope you got my point. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so now you have to use anchors here. Parent dot height. Vertical center. parent dot vertical center, and right margin of, let's say, 12. Let's see. I think this is good enough space, right? So indicator is also done. So we have basically covered this thing. Select a fruit thing, right? Now obviously the background color and all this stuff. Let's work around. Let's choose the color. So it's 09090B. So let's do that. Now let's add change the background color. It's also the same thing. So if this color is also the same, no need to add this. Okay, so if you have to add this, otherwise just make it transparent. Otherwise rectangle takes the default color of white. Now this is a bit thick. The text compared to our text is also a bit big in size, and the color of the text is gray, I guess. So the color will be EEE for now, and the size will be less than 13.5. Let's see now. Yeah, I think this is good enough. All right. So we are done with the content item thing, right? Mango and all this stuff. Now let's change the pop-up. So this is basically called the pop-up. Let me show you. First, let's minimize this. Also shrink the indicator. So we are done with 3 parts. So there is something called delegate. So let me show you. Let me run the application once and show you. So each of this component, right? Mango, lemon, strawberry, these are on the delegate. And the pop-up is a list view. You will see pop-up is a list view, right? So yeah. Let's first modify the delegate. After that, we'll be modifying the pop-up because delegate is more important. So we'll be like overwriting the each row. So you can use item delegate. I did not teach you item delegate, but you'll understand. It's very simply, like Qt has made a delegate for each item. So this is basically the same thing. You can change the background and all this stuff, right? So it has many properties. You can change the background, content, item, and all this stuff. Now, if you see, they use required property, model, and index. So we'll do the same thing. We are getting these two properties. But instead of model, let's also require a property of fruit name, which is a string, because we know that from the model we are getting a fruit name property, right? So yeah. So now in the content item, we'll simply add a label or a text as you wish. Label is a bit performance costly compared to text, but it has more functionalities. Like we can also add a background to the label, which we cannot do to the text. So yeah, you can also use text if you want performance. So we can use text. So the actual text value will be fruit name. Now let's see if they, okay, so also they, how did this, okay, so they simply use the text property. We can also do that. We can also use the text property. So, or we can use content item text for now. Let's do that. Also, let's change the background property of item delegate. So the background color will be changed. Let's see what background they chose. So the background is also same color, the 09 color. So we will do that. But on the highlighting, the color changes. So the background is also a rectangle. Color is this color. Now it has an implicit width and an implicit height. But we will say instead of that, let's see how they wrote the background. So they did not change any background color or something. So if this is not getting confusing for you guys, I'll just say anchors.fill parent. So take the full width and height. Now the color will vary, right? Let's add a mouse area here, and I'll say ID is item delegate mouse area, or simply MA mouse area, uh, or simply mouse. Or let's do this, right? Anchors.fill parent hover enable true, and I'll say item delegate dot contains mouse. Then the color will be different. Otherwise, it will be full dark. Now, if it's hovering, if the contains mouse. So if you are hovering over the item, you will see there is a slightly grayish color. Let's try to use color picker to do that. Okay. Okay, so I think these two colors are the same, I guess. I think we can pick this color, I guess, or I don't know, should I'm not able to open this, and there has to be a shortcut here. I'll choose a different shortcut. Control 1, okay, let's see. So funny thing is I'm not getting like the color. So let's do one thing, right? Just a minute. Let's see. So this is the color. We'll copy this and paste here. Let's see now. Okay, we need to also say anchors.fill parent, or here, I guess. Okay. So that did not work. How about this width? Let's see. Okay, so now this is working properly. We have to also change the color of the text on hovering, or not on hovering. The color of the text will always be white, so we'll say color of white. Let's see. Now, as you can see, we can also add animation here. So let's see how they did that. Okay, so I think we are almost the same as them, I guess, except for maybe the color is too, like, their color is a bit lighter and our color is a bit more darker. But yeah, uh, aside from color, I think this is good enough. So we'll also change the font size. of the set 12, and let's see now. And as you can see, there is an issue, like the border is also not up to the mark. Actually, I think that, like, also the pop-up is like pushing upwards, right? So that's also an issue. Now, how to fix that? Let's see. So we are done with the delegate part. Now the only thing remaining is the pop-up part, right? Let's see how they implemented the pop-up. So pop-up will be a simply pop-up component, and there is a Y property here. So we have to modify this Y property. Now, hmm, for now, let's see. Let's try to implement the pop-up. This will be in the end. Let's modify the pop-up. It will simply pop up in caps, and the Y will be my combo box dot height. So it will be below the my combo box, and the pop-up also is taking some width and height and some margins. Let's copy this part and we'll modify. So instead of control dot width, it will be simply my combo box dot width. So they are the same width, right? So the height. Now content item for the pop-up is a list view, right? So whatever is the height of the list view, I'll show you what this means actually. It means if your list has less elements, only the pop-up height should be only that. Like mat.min means, let me use the whiteboard to make it more clear to you guys. Let's say this is the window, and this is in the middle, this is the combo box, right? Now let's say you have only two items, A and B. So the height of the pop-up should only be this much. But let's say you have 30 items. So you have to stop till you reach the end of the page, right? Or the end of the window. In our case, it's the window, application window. So the height should be minimum of this available height or the height of the inner items, right? So we are actually doing that. So implicit height, so least uh, the lower number among the two. Now this one, hmm, hmm, what can I say? This will, let's try a random case here. Uh, let's say root dot height minus my combo box dot y plus my combo box dot height. Now why is that? I'll show you why I did that later, but for now let me tell you what I'm actually guessing. So this is the window. Here x is 0, y is 0. Here the value of x is equal to value of width, right? Hope you remember x and y coordinates, right? Here y is half or height by 2. Here y equal to height. So let's say our combo box is here, right? So if you say y of the combo box, it will be this plus height. So this y, right? So if you say y of the combo box plus height, so you're at this point, and this is the total height of the application, right? Total height. So here y equal to height. I hope you got my point, right? This is the total height. And if you say y, sorry, let me show you again. This is the combo box. This is the total height. This is the ComboBox.y value, and if you add ComboBox.height, you will reach here. So this part will be nothing but height minus this part, so ComboBox.y, and also subtract this part, right? This part, so ComboBox.height. I hope you got my point, right? How I did the calculation. Now in the pop-up, it will obviously be a list view. So the content item is basically a list view. Let's add that. Let's think about scroll bar after later. No need for borders. Looks bad anyway. Let's indent properly. Yeah. Implicit height, content height, okay. Model. Model will be my ComboBox dot this one. Dot model. Yeah. My ComboBox dot model, or you can simply say this one. So anyway, I'll show you, like you can always remove this and simply use this value here, because the actual model is being passed down. Or you could have just said my ComboBox dot model, both were fine, right? Current index is highlighted index, or initially the current index will be -1, right? As we had discussed earlier. Or you can just say my ComboBox dot current index, right? Let's see now. Interesting. Because there is no delegate here, I think. Yeah. Model is controlled on delegate model. Okay. So I think we should also do that. We should also do delegate model, I guess. So model will be my ComboBox dot delegate model. Let's see now. Okay. Let's add a hard-coded height here of, let's say, 100. I think there is some calculation issue here. It will take a bit of time, guys. If you are patient with me, right? Yeah. So there is an issue with the height, I guess, and no item is visible here. So the list view. Interesting. Again, the background thing. Let's also add this. This is the background to roots color. So this color, right? So it's dark. Let's see now. Yeah, as you can see, the pop-up is there, but we are not able to see it. Let's change the background color to something which is different from the root color. Yeah, so there is no like item here. I don't know why. Implicit height is content height. Let's forget the height for now. Let's simply say anchors.fill parent. Let's see. What's the issue? Like I can simply move this delegate here. I think that could be fixable, but then I wanted it to be native. Okay, and the model will be, instead of that, it will be myComboBox.model. Okay, I got my point. I got the issue here. I had removed the model here. Yeah, now I added it back. Let's add the delegate back for now. Otherwise, we can always fall back. Let's add the delegate back to where it was, right? Delegate, counted item, all this stuff. Now change the model back here. Will myComboBox.delegate model. Yeah. Let's see now. This should work. As you can see, yeah. The instead of this, let's go back. Implicit height is content height. Content height means whatever is the height inside the list view. So combine all the height of the delegate, total height, right? Yeah. And width will be simply parent dot width, I guess. Although content item fills the width by itself, but there is a problematic border here. We need to fix this. Yeah. Now this works properly. And let's change it back. Let's see now. Okay, so it moved up, which I don't really want. Also, there should be a thin radius, sorry, border. So I'll say border width is 1, and the color same as the background, right? A thin border, so the pop-up is actually visible. Yeah. This should be. Hmm. No property called margins here. Okay. Episode margins 1. So if the list view has one margin, so there is some space for the border to be visible. Yeah, this is exactly what I wanted. So the list view has some one margin, so there is some space for the background border to be visible. Otherwise, it was fully covering the background, and we were not able to see. This is an issue here. It's moving up. Let's try to reduce the number of items here, and let's see now. It should not move up, like it should not move upwards. This should be the expected behavior. Okay, so this is moving way up. Now this is an issue. Uh, let's add logs here and see what we are working with. Component on completed. Let's add some console logs here. Console.log. First of all, let's see content height. This part was the value of this. Let's see the full window height. which will be my ComboBox root dot height, which is the full window height, the height of the entire application. Again, add a console log. ComboBox y value. So I say my ComboBox dot y, and finally ComboBox height. Let's see all these values and let's see if we are working with the correct thing or not. Wait a minute. I actually erased it. Yeah. So the content at is 315. So okay. Let's see now. Why is it moving upwards? That's the issue. Because 480 minus 215 is hardly 200 or so. Let's let's change this to a hard-coded value. Let's comment this out. Let's comment this out. Matter minimum of this and let's say 20. Let's see if this actually works or not. Let's see. So this is working. Uh, so there is some issue here. Let's try to remove this. Okay, this will be minus. This will also be minus. Yeah, that's the main issue. Yes. No, I think still there's an issue here. I think this should never move upwards. I have to see how to fix that. But at least this is passable, right? If we make it full screen, at least this is passable compared to what was before. Let's try to shrink this a bit more. Yeah, so as you can see, I think we have to also this top margin, this thing caused the issue here. This top margin and bottom margin. So we also have to subtract top margin and bottom margin. I think now this will be correctly placed. So I hope you got my math points right, the mathematics thing. Full height minus this height and minus this height. So I think this is good enough, right? As you can see, it will always start from the bottom, and that is exactly what we wanted, right? But there is an issue here, it was moving up. I think this also fixed the issue where it was moving upwards sometimes, the thing, right? And yeah, I'll again explain what I did. The video became 1 hour long, but ComboBox is itself a very hard concept. Let's say this is the entire window. I want only this part to be my pop-up, right? So what I did is this total height subtract minus this y-axis part, right? So now remaining is this part. Again subtract this part, right? So ComboBox height. Now remaining part is this. So this much should be the allowed height for the pop-up. This is exactly what I did. Root height minus this y. So this much is left minus ComboBox height. So this much part is subtracted again. So this much part is left. This will be the allowed height of the pop-up. Now, if let's say list view inside only needs this much height, so it will be minimum of the two values, right? So then pop-up will only be this much, right? Not the full remaining part. So this is exactly what we did. So this was all about the pop-up. We can always add images inside this, right? For example, we can add a banana image and then banana, apple image and then apple. But yeah, this is basically a combo box and how it appears, right? Uh, this does not look very good. Is there a way to fix that? Let me think. Like, for example, some padding when we move this upwards. I think this will be the list view. It should have more height upwards. So I'll say anchors dot top margin of, let's say, 2 or let's say 3. I think now this should work properly. So the list view will be pushed more down. So now if you see, the mango is not actually cutting this because it's pushed more down. So if you wanted to push it more down, you can always add more top margin. So if I add a top margin of, let's say, 6, it will not be that close, or it will not touch the, and as you can see, yeah, interesting. So anyway, we can obviously fix those slight issues, but yeah, I think this should be a basic common example of how a list view works, right? And after that, in this next video, we'll be learning some other important concepts and we'll be continuing with the dashboard which we were building so far. But yeah, thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Take care.